Great. When you found out that the FBI had located even more classified materials in Wilmington, which four-letter word did you use?
Oh my goodness, Peter.
Cause my heart to race. Girl, you're looking like $1,000,000. Something about the way you strut.
President Biden is still intending to run for re-election in 2024, right?
What if the same people that hate Trump hate Joe Biden just as much? Start thinking geometrically. Somebody who can't think even linearly in 2 dimensions, not 3 or 4 dimensions, is Karine Jean-Pierre, who's having to field an absolute barrage of hellfire missiles on this question yesterday. Hair on fire, Karine Jean-Pierre says Biden still intends to run for president after the FBI raided his home, gets grilled, and was surprised that more documents were found. Ladies and gentlemen, the best question of the day, without any reservation, is Peter Doocy saying, which 4-letter word did you shout when you found out that there would be more documents found after the FBI raided Joe Biden's home? Absolute thing of beauty. Watch Karine Jean-Pierre's hair ignite in fire.
When you found out that the FBI had located even more classified materials in Wilmington, which 4-letter word did you use?
Oh my goodness, Peter.
Can't say.
She laughed. It's not a real laugh. Not a real laugh. It's like the Joker. Okay, it's like a Heath Ledger laugh. That's not a real laugh. All right. Joe Biden running again in 2024? Is it happening? Peter Doocy with the flames. Watch.
House. Let's watch.
President Biden is still intending to run for re-election in 2024, right?
I'll just repeat what the president said after the midterm election, which is he intends to run. I'm going to be very careful from here, as you know, because we are covered by the Hatch Act, and I'm not going to speak further to his process.
Is there a precedent for people running for president after FBI agents search their sock drawer?
Say that one more time. Say that beginning part.
Is there a precedent for people running for president after FBI agents?
It sounds like you already know that the answer to that question. Look, here's what I
don't know the answer to that question. An FBI search of a president's residence is a big deal.
Here's what the president's going to focus on. He's going to focus on continuing to deliver for the American people. That's his focus. That's what he focuses on every day. That's what he's been focusing on the last 2 years. And nothing is going to change that. You think about the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, you think about the Inflation Reduction Act, you think about the CHIPS and Science Act, the bipartisan one, the last 2 that I mentioned, done in a bipartisan way. That's what the president wants to do. He wants to continue to deliver on his economic plan that is going to build the economy from the bottom up, middle out.
So Joe Biden is in a very rarefied era in history, being the first president to be officially investigated by federal authorities whilst his son is investigated at the same time. Why is he running for president again, Karine? You know, it's because of the bisexual agreements that he's made with, bipartisan. Hey, Karine, is this a cover-up? Is this actually a cover-up? Clearly it is. Watch the meltdown.
House Oversight Committee Chairman says this document situation has all the makings of a potential cover-up. Is President Biden involved in a cover-up?
We have been very clear here from this administration. The president has been very clear that he takes this very seriously when it comes to classified information, when it comes to classified documents, and that his team has been fully cooperative with this legal matter. Anything else, Peter? And I'm going to be very serious. You asked me kind of a question that everybody laughed at, which was interesting question to ask. But any other underlying questions that you may have, I would refer you to my colleagues, the White House counsel. I'm going to continue to be prudent. I'm going to continue to be consistent and refer you to any questions you have.
Does this sound like somebody who's in charge? Does this sound like somebody who's in control of the situation? Does it sound like somebody who is in command or actually believes what she's saying? Of course not. Of course not. This is Baghdad Bob. She is now Baghdad Bob. Okay? There is no way American troops will get into Baghdad. We are winning. We are winning. Karine Jean-Pierre, Baghdad Bob. She knows, and she's on her way out. Remember, Ron Klain just hit the bricks. Ron Klain is the master and controller of the Biden agenda, and he resigned this weekend in total disgrace. Why? Well, because he knows what's coming. It wasn't just Peter Doocy asking the flamethrower questions. Other corporate media reporters asking like, hey, you've lied to us many, many times, telling us that these are the last classified documents. You just there said Joe Biden takes classified documents very seriously. His own party is turning on him as it pertains. I mean, again, Baghdad Bob. Like, there will be no American invasion of Baghdad as the bombs are falling behind him, as the tanks roll into Baghdad. She's saying Joe Biden takes the classified documents very seriously as FBI raids are uncovering more documents from over 14 years ago, Joe Biden's Senate term. That's at least 14 years ago. Joe Biden's Senate term. Joe Biden hasn't been a senator since 2009. So how can we ever trust you again? What a question from the corporate press. Watch.
You have said, though, from this podium many, many times over the last 2 weeks that this president takes the handling of classified material very seriously. And yet we continue to learn about more documents being found and discovered at his home, including now some that go back decades to his time in the Senate. So why should the American people believe that this president takes classified material seriously and the handling of it?
Look, the American people heard from the president directly on this when he was asked by your colleagues at least twice now about how he sees this process. And he was very clear with the response of what we're currently seeing. And he says, I take this very seriously. He said, I didn't know that the documents were there.
But I do want to ask one more time, because you have been the one messaging that he takes this seriously. You have also been saying over and over again that you are cooperating fully with this investigation.
That hasn't changed, Mary.
But given that, why then did it take several searches and the FBI coming in to uncover the full extent of the documents at his house?
I understand your question. I've said many times, the president has said many times, he takes this very seriously. You've heard directly from him. You just said that his team is cooperating fully. And just want to add, and you heard from his team that the FBI was invited into the president's home. I'm not going to go beyond that. That was in the statement that was released on Saturday.
If Joe Biden took classified documents very seriously, why were there so many tranches of classified documents squirreled away inside of boxes, next to Corvettes, inside of closets? Why is Joe Biden's lawyers tampering with evidence of a crime? Why is all of this being allowed? How many more tranches of classified documents will be found? Karine Jean-Pierre asked this directly yesterday. Watch her pull the fire alarm.
You just said the president said that he did not know the documents were there. I'm not actually sure he has said that clearly. Are you saying the president did not know?
Well, he said he was surprised. He said he was surprised.
Any of the documents?
He said he was surprised. I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to refer you to the White House counsel's office. I'm just repeating what he said, and he said.
You just said. You said he did not know the documents were there.
He said he was surprised that the documents were there. He said that, and that he takes this very seriously. That's what I want to make sure that the American people understand. And I just refer.
American people might question that, given that you keep every few days it seems we are finding that more documents have been found at his house.
What I'm telling you is what the president has said, which is he takes this very seriously. I will refer you to detailed explanations from statements that have come from his personal lawyer.
There's a large conversation and debate going on right now in conservative media about ownership and about independence and so on. We have our thoughts on this, and our thoughts are quite clear. We are very proud to be independent and very proud to be delivering directly to you the news that we think is edifying and important, and to be listening to you. That is our stance on this. We have a lot of friends in this movement, and quite frankly, I personally believe that independence is extremely important because it creates a connection with the audience. And so we deeply appreciate all of you. Now, every one of those corporate media reporters in that room them has a boss. None of them are independent. So if you're sitting in the White House press room, you have a boss, and that boss has multiple other bosses, and those bosses are multi-trillion or billion-dollar corporations. Again, we're across the street from CNN here in Atlanta. So what does that mean? That means that when a reporter like that is sicked on Karine Jean-Pierre, they're being told to do that. Somebody is telling that, or that reporter is not independent. That reporter can't do what we do every single day and ask questions. That reporter is told which questions to ask. So when that reporter starts like dropping hammer after hammer after hammer, how can we trust you? Why are you lying? Why is Joe Biden lying? How many more documents will be found? When they start going at Karine Jean-Pierre's ankles like a rabid pit bull, somebody is telling them to do that. Those interests are pushing the narrative through that reporter, through that corporate media reporter. I think she works for CBS. And they are going after the White House. They're being told to by the hive mind, by the Borg. These are very dangerous times for Joe Biden, and they know it's about to get worse. Will Joe Biden's Rehoboth house? Remember, Joe Biden has multiple mansions in Delaware. He has a house that hasn't been raided by the FBI. Joe Biden, curiously, was in that house this weekend. He's allowed to go there by the DOJ to go clean up a crime scene this weekend. Will the FBI be raiding his Rehoboth house next? The answer is absolutely yes. As we reported yesterday, Joe Biden's going to be spending this weekend in Camp David, where the president typically spends times of war. So Joe Biden knows this is a wartime battle that he is facing. He is losing, and Joe Biden is going to now hole up inside of the Maryland retreat at Camp David, while his Rehoboth house and all the monoclonal antibodies that he takes when he's there that nobody can see, and all the visitors that come tromping through with the Communist Chinese Party, like placards stamped on their badges and name IDs. Look, none of those people are getting logged. Joe Biden goes to these homes in Delaware to do Lord knows what. We're not exactly sure. But ladies and gentlemen, we know this. The raid is coming next on the Rehoboth house. And Karine Jean-Pierre was asked this directly. Watch.
Has the president invited the Justice Department to search his home in Rehoboth, Delaware?
I would refer you to the White House counsel's office, who will be speaking with all of you pretty soon.
Okay.
That's like a broken person. She's starting to break down, right? Because there's only so much your soul can take when you lie for a living. And when you're having to like carry that burden, we are spiritual beings. Even if you don't believe in God, like the reality is you are a spiritual being. You were created by a creator, and you can't carry that many lies. That burden begins to actually like weigh on you and depress you. Eventually the fraud implodes. Eventually, and this is the same way the Soviet Union fell, you cannot have a system built on so much fraudulence. You kick the door in and the entire house collapses.
Thank you for watching. Our channel's here to meme the libs until they cry and then to meme them crying. Their tears, they taste just like sweet, delicious ice cream. Salty, too. We ridicule the establishment and the libs because of you. Your support keeps us going. So if you like what you saw, please punch the subscribe button, click like, and ring the little bell so that you know when we're live. Don't you want to know when we're live? And make sure that you subscribe to our email list just in case the plug gets pulled, as tends to happen. If you want to see more of our videos, click here or here. My name is Benny Johnson. Stay free, face Patriots.